Gaeilge Weekly is brought to you by Learn Irish Online. For way more shows, videos, podcasts, and courses for learning the language, head to learnirishonline.com or patreon.com/learnirishonline.
You've been the best of times, you walk me through my darkest days. Why must I turn around? I ask myself. This just ain't fair, so hard to bear. I'm not really sure these days. You walk away, you don't
Hello, Fáilte ar ais chuig Gaeilge Weekly agran Céadaoin episode 102. Fáilte isteacht, síos, tar isteacht, Tásúlan gohfuil tú compradach beidir gohfuil tú níl sam moille ag rith. You might be out running agus ag éisteacht leis an budcréile seo má tá chuinneart if you are. Keep going, keep her lit as we say. Beidir gohfuil tú ag tomán sa chór, nó sa van, nó sa truck, gydsi an obair, nó rud ag an maidir leis an obair, beidir gohfuil tú ag obair an laptop agus ag éisteacht leis an budcréile seo má tá. If you are listening to this while working, make sure that you can do that and still give 100% to your work. Thinking to gohfuil tú an é sin dhéanamh agus céad fan géad ó thuirt do the chuid zibra. If not, maybe leave this podcast for later on in the day. Mon will beidir fág an budcréile seo go áméigean nó óráigean níos déine inniu. You might be out on a walk, beidir gohfuil tú súlaid, beidir gohfuil tú ag síos le piano agus pauper. You might be sitting down with pen and paper, just podcasting, noting down different words, or using the PDF we have for the most complicated words used in this podcast, available on Patreon. The focal is Jacker on PDF. It's in the focal is Jacker agus is duchlani atá le fáil Patreon leis an budcréile seo. Agus chuma céanát, seans má gohfuil tú géisteacht de Sydney, Melbourne, Lochlia, Seville, ag sa lumsa. No, ní bhín mé ag éisteacht sér leis na budcréile ní matlam a bheith ag éisteacht le mo gcomhhéin a ruch na listen to my own voice ach Boston, New Hour, Gaeilge, Port Larga, Roscommon, éonát timpeall an down. Míle buchas as a bheith túnál seach, mar is gnách. Míle buchas as ligint dom. Big thank you for letting me a bheith mar chuid bheag de the hail. Big thank you for letting me be a small part of your life and for letting me into your life. As ligenstom. Yeah, bheith mar chuid bheag de the hail agus teachtasteach chuig de hail fa hartar la or actually on legan umlan and Gnáthleagan it's in fudcréile, the full version or the normal version of the podcast this week fi sé hartar carchanomid mar táneart scéalta le instance. Táneart scéalta agam le instance dits an tachtan so agus neart rudí difriúla a harla I ri an jar seachtainna mas rudé go rá tú ag éisteacht leis an budcréile. An tachtant catsa, tá agam gra méid cláirt frí rudí níos dáire an budcréile an tachtant catsa. A chruithní mé ag labhairt beaganín faoi na planna a bhí agam don níor seachtainna agus chun an Ross I dhéanamh hús I Pamplona to do the race up in Pamplona, and that was the plan. It happens, thankfully, and all went well. I suppose it's the first thing to say. Who got the agus mas rudé gohfuil tú in our leanúint Learn Irish Online Instagram, beidir go bhaca sibh on picture. Mission sin on chréichlína no dearchanacha leis an chréichlína, so the picture of me beside the finish line with the brat éarnach, the Irish flag, taréistom an Ross a dhéanamh. So, tá mé leart beginning faoi sin agus an dear seachtainna bhí agam fuin mé sór taithnavas. I really enjoyed it agus tá mé taréis. So hu mé ar an ina agus an sin tá mé sé ag tafadú inniu ar an luúin. I'm recording today on Monday. Hui mé ras an seo go civil inne solna no ihe. So if you just on sin hartar 8 uair is charcha 48 hours no gá lá. Has come here out to make the race towards Videra. I'm after realizing like ní matlam really dull out again, you know, or fa seachtainna online for a full week, no jet law, or aren't it just in America? Yeah, roada atá ann, sometimes it's too long, especially if you're staying in Airbnb, no Ostan, no hostel, no out again mar sin agus. Is even on my chuid zebra. Agus better go 5 agam freshen to my gaffa le my chuid zebra. I love my work and my job. I'm very lucky with that, but also it's maybe a problem warrant that sé dachar dom tan of a bhain chas rudí bí mé I gcónaí smaoineh faoin ópaireachs is smaoineh bhá tá smaoineh seo agam le learnirishonline nó tá mé gurí an cuasa seo nó podcréile seo a dhéanú tá mé gurí labhairt faoi seo ar an podcréile tá mé gurí an post seo a chuir sús ar na meán thosaíalta on social media. So beidir fibeatá intí freisin might be a problem as well. Sin scéal le lá eile fibe Matá tú hun is dócha 5 a bheith ad if you're going to have a problem sin an size 5 a bhfuil tú a géirí. A bhhad níos mó ná just níl éon work ethic agam agus ní had níon má foslam agus mar sin I don't like my job agus mar sin. So a good problem to have is dócha. Tá mé tar éis tuairt faoi deara I'm after realising I love going away for 2 days at the weekend. Like gá lá ag an deir seachtainna agus áte an seo sa Spáin ní maith le rilí dul gáit nuair nach bhfuil an teanga agam agus nuair nach bhfuil is agam cén chuí a bríon rudaí mar hapla dultíon Gearmán agus níl mór an teanga agam around much of the language if I go to Germany or Portugal mar hapla níl an fortsingé lech or chlig ó my heach. Portugal's only an hour from my house in a car so chur an tror an arénos níl a lot of ruddy really ag an tróán caiithú dul beagnaí níos faide. You have to go a bit longer or a bit further to get, I suppose, places that are worth going to for a full weekend áit na gur fiúid dul an tíir seachtainna omla. Ach, is fearlam really fan tan seo sa Spáin nó dul arás go éireann nó na richt daontí freisin is íblam a bheith taistil richt daontí nó bíon daoine gcónaí tuairtach ach mar luaigh mé an teachtain Scots as I said last week. If you listen to social media and the news, má tá tú éisteacht leis na meán thosaíalta agus an nuacht an tamar fad, you get this idea that somewhere like the UK is absolutely gone to the dogs and it's all over the place tá sé fud na hása, but sure, you can still go to London, Liverpool, Manchester or áte an muoin Thuaidh somewhere out in the countryside agus deir seachtainna nó seachtain ionach a bheith agat agus tá an sanga agat agus tá na daoine deas agus breisinte agus freisin mar éireann ag chomhairnta tá an smaoineh seogaí. As Irish people sometimes I know not everybody listening is Irish tá sagam nach bhfuil gach duine ag éisteacht mar éarnachach a chud is mó is tócha most people or at least of Irish family or liad tá clán éarnach agav. We sometimes have this idea, oh yeah, England's not that nice, but England's great. For my brothers there at the weekends in Brighton bhí me dearthóir an sin ag an deir seachtainna mráisin cínta grá agus Honach mé cúpla greengraph a bhí aige ar Instagram bhí amínta aige so ag only bíon daoine ag tuairtamach faoi áitina dhearfriúil le cosúil le sasanna. Always people are giving out about different places like England for example, but that's just all fear and places are great. Most places are great to go to and you can have a good time. It's very that amíntach a bheith agat is tócha a chuidsmó áta simple and that. Arinus arish scale la different story for another day. Is málam bhein seo Spáin mar tuigim an cultúr go puinte ní Spáineach mé ní as an Spáin mé ag tá mé im a choní le ceir bliana go le an is 4.5 years now. So mohim tá sag maihíon mu go bíán tá an tangagam tá sag mó tá bí seo go jazz ní matlam an bí sin an chaithí mé dolas seach chun orú nó an féidir an fannach ag an mauir. Do I have to go into order? Can I order tip? Rudí cos le sin agus gin sin difricht all ceapan. So is even an dul gá lá trí lá áte an gá lá in Madrid nó gá lá in Malaga nó gá lá áte an níos lú beidir bailile aigen na Pueblo mar dearann siad an seo somewhere smaller, kind of more traditional, old school, níos seanaimstrithe, níos tradiisiúnta. Agus leis an Spáin tá tá deargurm and so really lucky here mar tá an méid sin áitina dhearfriúla. There's so many different places around the country, má tá tú ag labhairt faoin na Chafrica if you're speaking about the cities mar hampla Bilbao, San Sebastian, La Coruña, Pamplona, Zaragoza, Girona, Barcelona, Valencia, Madrid, Toledo, Malaga, Gibraltar, Huelva, Huesca, Cáceres. Tá a méid sin áitina agus sin just na Chafrica agus an sin táitina chun sciáil i Catalunya agus ceapan freisin beidir hús in Navarra. No, the good plots and shins few places there in the north. Freight that sciáil Andorra freshen or no tír friúil tá sé éasca an dul seach sa tíir sin. It's easy to go in to that place into that country. Agus na bailí difriúil na sléimhte difriúla the different mountains and the coast and different beaches, nátainna different latrona difriúla agus na nátainna Chosharga, the places on the coast. So, it's really cool to I'm very grateful to live in a country on a vet in a honey it's here. Leis an méid átainna difriúla. Seo agus cumáil sin in éireann. Okay, beidir níl an rud céan ágin agus nóin ní bhína an aimsere ach fós in éireann tá méid sin átainna agus a lá éireann cosú lumpsa moithíonn muid cionntaach nach bhfuil mór an tin tíar feice aga mis mar hampla ní raibh mé riomh idir chonal I was never in Donegal ní raibh mé gurcaig ach orháin I was only in Cork once ní raibh mé ag na chiúirí beidir gá ór agus níor chuir mé at na ceart ar an áit I didn't really get to know the place properly. Where else? Even Dublin City. I've got to know better. Tá mé taréis at na beag níos fearr a chur le gábhlín anús ach ní mór an really I gcompráds le átainna difriúla Kilkenny ní raibh mé riomh ann Lochgarmán ní raibh mé riomh ann so Wexford I was never there Kilkenny I was never there Tuaisceart Éireann ní raibh mé ann ach Orháin I was only in Northern Ireland or the north of Ireland once. So I feel a bit guilty agus gone out to Tauki nor Ilmarás Éireann Laig and when I returned to Ireland one day to live sin beidir an príomhrud agus an chéad rud ó bhfuil mé ag déanú. Maybe the first thing I want to do, the main thing I want to do is travel more around the country and see more of the country because again when you have the language and you understand the culture and how the country works you have a massive advantage to buntáiste óir agat sin. So it's probably a sin a dhéanamh an áit dul ar leitheann de sira like kosher outing partying somewhere or going whatever hiking for 2 weeks somewhere ik dul hike or fa kaiki shots again no ik dul out again on a size touristy beidir in áit nach bhfuil an tangagam sin ceart lór but tá simad is sin ach domsa just ní more an simagam I rudig le sin a leitheann de show. I don't have much interest in things like that nowadays and a lot of those places feel the same mohíonn siad mar an géan and ní bhfuil say goil more an tifricht no more an tifricht maidir leis an gultar snáts na sin maithintú go dtí an Velig if you go to Belgium no maithintú go dtí whatever Stockholm no agus ní ra mé snáts na sin river just sin fector dumpsa go bhfuil sé mar sin. It seems to me like that I might be wrong and I'd still love to go to those places and get to know them for rálam dul chuig náts na sin agus aithna cheart a chur na hátainna sin. Ach bhrála mar hampla an nuirí dul go Madrid chun leat marathon dhéanamh sin gá lá le carlum going to Madrid last year for 2 days for a half marathon and really get to know Madrid better. Cáceres who may agus rinne mé agron seo did neps on this mi bhíon fóver an nuirí an flá is mó an flá ceol like flá ceol na héireann is mó tíomh muid a éireann bíonn tíar siúil an seo sa Spáin bíonn tíar siúil in áit dar bhanam Cáceres in Extremadura. So tá sé dechar an chuirsís a dhéanamh cábhfuil sé tá sé leabhalc idir an Fortingale agus Madrid. So it's kind of halfway in between Portugal and Madrid if you can imagine that really in the middle of nowhere. Agus Stearnaland ini tá Extremadura tá sé agsúla Leitrim beidir an éireann the forgotten province the forgotten place. Ach Arenas bhí man sin like mi bheall fóver an nuirí chun an flá eicilta sais randomach gon an flá an sin bhí méid láirt fi sin ar an episód má héon tú ras mi bheán fóver an nuirí Jeremy bheán fóver bhí méid láirt faoi an taithí a bhí aga méid flá ceol na héireann I Cáceres. So ní me an láirt an number faoi and I'm not going to speak too much about now. You can go back to the episode from the end of September last year after I just come back from the flá. But again 2 days there, I think even 1 day there huimids mods in Ceisteanna agus an sin arás tunna te dhaoine agus lá frádag in na Cáceres agus an road trip agus an crach sa chóir agus mar sin just as even on my sin agus a rud céanna ag fágáil an sin gus ar gatha an tíar seachtainna seo no tíar seachtainna Shikatsa inis is dócha last weekend now at this point I guess going up on Friday an train ceir or chlig so an train sin sé ó Seville go Barcelona agus train nua down mar nílart ahrú dhéanamh in Madrid. So river seo sé bhí ó hin blin ó hin bhíart nasc trainna ália to get a train connection in Madrid agus an sin bhí tú an leanúint Barcelona inis tá train Zurich ó Pamplona go Seville go Barcelona agus stoppen sé I Córdoba Ciudad Real lot an a bhíog níl sagm cinfá beidir go gomín daoine ag ahrú an sin chun transfer gach ag an eile chun astrú go áit ag an eile. Níl sagam ach an sin stoman sé Zaragoza agus leanann sé rá go Barcelona, so it continues to Barcelona. So hui mis go Zaragoza hart ceithre or clig 4 hours direct. Expensive the trains here tá na treinacha an seo tá siad costasach ach befiúid mar fágan siad in an agoni. They always leave on time. They always get you there. Almost always. I mean, nowhere is going to be perfect, but a wad níos fearr not tíortha eile an a chumperloch, tá an bí agus joch a cheannach an train agus just service an a wa atá I gceist tá sé an a sábhalt freisin, caithí tú dul tríd na gceatí slandála chun an train all you have to go through security here to get on a train because of different stuff that's happened in the past, especially 2005. Gaeilge sa cuaig an so agus na boomy a Harla in Madrid expector odds na Ella ni McKinta the bombs and the attacks that happened here in 2005. So it's a tight ship and you feel more secure then when you're on the train mohin to better bioganini solved since far and thought to air on train, and they're really good service. You can get to a lot of different places fast. They're very fast across the country. Thought of an Godston if you're all the temple here. So costs ach folks service into so it's coming. So I was there then by about midday or 1 o'clock fi min sin hartar mian lei no a héanachlog air on ina. Agus tá car agam in a choni is Zaragoza agus an sa stíl viagin no vi min san búla céile is Zaragoza an ina. Fi session hon buganins in chahar a sponge them. He was gonna show me a bit of the city. On Friday we'd go up, he drive me up to Pamplona on Saturday agus vi min chun an lá a chahu an Saharn le chéile Pamplona agus an sin fiú arráir Zaragoza agus bhí mise chun an train all ó Zaragoza go Seville an Downach in agus mise ag tafaú so yesterday as I'm recording. So rinne sin agus Déanta Eipeasóid leis an train roiinúd ní rá is Zaragoza riviseo bhí mé Pamplona rinne mé an Erasmus I Pamplona so bhí mé I choni I Pamplona fa cuaig nó séhí I Gaeilge fé hain. So I was living there doing my Erasmus there for about 5 or 6 months in 2021. So it was really cool to get to go back there. But really, one of the biggest things for this weekend, it's just a lap marathon and instead of just the half marathon, because that's whatever. I'm not a professional runner, although I love running and I train quite hard. We make train al soch chur. It's coming really. Sure, can't see fruct the yen say ma yenum ma no drochan rish mar rameg lartswi an saktan skatsa ta ruddy a wadnis talvakti agus a wadnis daira. There's a lot more important and more serious things. Shul timp down so running so la marathon crack ma ag buin slash ach ní féidir that a whole row daira. You can't take it too seriously at the same time. So the biggest thing for me was probably to get to see my friends, get to see Zaragoza as well, because I'd never been there and remain sin river on Ceisteanna show. Agus hadn't she lum. I mean, like, listen, Neil Lan Ruddy le déanú is Zaragoza agus tá a long carfachas spawn cos le sin Zaragoza bidir La Coruña freisin Girona Nacional Toledo bidir agus is carcha an a yasid agus tá siad an a glán they're very clean Ibríonn siad go má tá na daoine das is féidir le béle das all ach ní like a lán rudí le feicáil is Seville tá níos mar rudí tá an orthoaglis the cathedral an seo tá an Alcazar agin an seo freisin in aca leis an orthoaglis tá an Áin agus tá cúpla porc an the war tá stád Pella football stadiums an stád Sevilla stád Betis stád Le Chartucha freisin an cean eile. Talán rudí le feicáil beidir átings le Zaragoza, Córdoba, mar hampla, those kind of mid-range cities, níl a lán rudí. Chun feicáil má tá sin láháin, ach bhí sé gras chun na chara a bhelumm agus bhí sesin in an bugadín start and chahar a bhíú dom he's able to explain a bit the history of the city freisin. Agus, cin fá bhfuil an tanam Zaragoza an gahar ceapan, níos tá Déanta ag no. Zaragoza níl sagam agus níl literally agam an seo so ní féidirlumm a lurch and this I can't look it up now but Julius Caesar sa Spanish tá anam tifriúil he's a different name in Spanish agus tá sé agsúla Saragossa na rud ag mar sin agus sin an áit a hagan an as a hagan an tanam Zaragoza cilíonn sé Julius Caesar sa Spanish go basically. So an sin dulgsí an príomhrud an sin ná basilica agus tá an dul agus panoramic view an chathair eáil agus bhí lá an te a bhí anna ar tro 7 na tro 8 ar an ínas bhí an átegam dom héin I place to myself the panoramic view ní roiin deile eile hús an sin chomhpháirtíocht sin just ag dul timp an chathair le a chara creid ní sesin an obair ag a cúgalog so githe agus ggóil rud na ggó bhí sesin na ggóil beor ní ra mise well bhí beorháin agam ar an líonna ach ar nóí leis an Ross of course with the race on Saturday ní ra mé géirí actually like cúpla pianta all cé ra mé géirí even though I wanted to sin mar bhín sé agus mBéarla sin bhí na piantaí ar an Saturn few níos fearr the points were even better on the Saturday because of that because of holding off on the Friday so ag dul timp le chathair agus chathair an na tas like nils an méfáin an Three no care law a chahu on sin beidir gan I roi sé bugan the ladronic and would maybe get a bit boring after 3 or 4 days but to see it to go around really nice city in terms of food and drink and nice bars like bugan sin an different small beidir idir tuisceart in Spain agus gesceart in Spain maybe the biggest difference between the north of Spain and the south of Spain is things are a bit more polished and developed up there it's already bugan níos forbathair agus just níos polished hús an sin so mar hampla main to cafe. And so if you get a coffee down here in the south, coffee con leche, real old school, traditional, just on sin I glina, ní lein, tá focalín tuch no frázín tuch mBéarla, there's no kind of, specialty kind of going with it. There's no colors or special things or decorations or master con the way with mar sin leis. It's just what you see is what you get. A con sin sa tuisceart, main to coffee. Beidir goil sin níos cosú leis an gafe a aon tú a rationéir and it might be more similar to the kind of more barista style agus an sin an cream an uachtar an sin war agus beidir goil design beag no love heart crí an sin war an chafe rudding lei sin so sin an difricht so tá níos mó bars le branding acu agus le bíochlórna le dahanna different le menus with different colours agus sin like a lá náit an seo is civil ní lein bíochlór acub no tá bíochlór agus tá sé literally like a word document like ní lein masúchan there there's no decoration mar níos de géirí sin tá sé sin ru pico sin cad dearan siad Spanish too kind of posh or fancy or bougie mar dearan much inis mBéarla so sin an different so is maithlam an chuig ceapan is fearlam an chuig a bhín sin seo níos tradiisiúnta ní sean aimimsríthe agus what you ask for is what you get, on rud or the intuition of rud, and even in the general culture, being say marsin, agus, usage there wadney small, better argot term on show, a lot more cash is used here instead of cards, looking already, how this works, this kind of spectrum from one side to another. Here it's kind of on one side of the spectrum, that's your have a one in spectrum on show, agus, biogni, like nisa an for like biogni small, better still era, marhampla. Who's on sin it dúsceart in Spain a bit more like how things are in Ireland maybe in the North Spain but only by a bit it's not a massive difference it's níl sé mar an géine leis an difriocht idir an idal mar hapla an idal an difriocht idir túisceart na dála agus gesceart na dála tá sé anhhar the difference in Italy between the north and south is very big it's not the same difference here níl sé mar an géine an seo so bhí sé géintach chun é sin bhegam agus just gacrúd buganí níos polished ar fan deir seat an bháin agus tána bhhaintse sin cé nach bhfuil mé géirí a bheith beidir i chonaí in áitgus lei sin even though I won't be living in a place like that necessarily nothing wrong with it but I prefer the old school elements here is doch mí sé buganí níos seanáimse an so agus an sin I chuimid amach chun béile an bhór a ithe an ine well ní ra chara ag déanú an Ross ach fós bhí sesin lán sásta chun carblód lom mar bhí sesin in an béile jazz so bí a dálach a bhí agén pizza all the war agus beginning hummus fresh in a big pizza and a bit of hummus which isn't that Italian I guess ach bhí hummus acub agus le arán neart arán agus like carblóding gomór don Ross an sin ar an Saturn for my cafe ar mad sin ag fannacht ar mar chara Fiúg sé sús me, he picks me up agus who to Pamplona in a chor, so we went to Pamplona in his car. Had there galeb an hour and a half from Zargata to Pamplona. Agus bhí sé géintach an fill rash ar Pamplona. Ba an dara or around my Erasmus. It was the second time that I was back in Pamplona thresh an Erasmus íana gábhíle is a féhin. An or dhearnach ní ramen sin ach feabhas chun one, three no care or clig. Last time I was only there for 3 or 4 hours, kind of one afternoon basically, Marvy whatever, to change train or something, and then a few hours free there if you couple or Sir Augment. So we should show Mars doch an Chéadóir Mars Geart of our rash sa chahir. It was the first time properly being back. I was never actually roash look really. It wasn't that weird because, you know, Tommy Mahoney to spawn agus vexay agus we make large actually Colleen Croatsach Croatian girl around on sin Aaron Erasmus lum. We make largely on Tachtan Scatsa. Agus thirty like on my ashtuck ditch the rash. Agus we invert so going to grow. Well, it's still the two of us were saying these are roash. It's not too weird or strange. Mar Thomas Mahoney spawn. Ni rao shisha rash spawn. You know, near Chreitnishi and Erasmus. She wasn't back in Spain since she finished the Erasmus with me in 2021. So Vexanis Ashley Dinegen Ksula Leahy. Haktamisha in Mahoney Chug Lon I'm sure so you know that's it's a rule. I'm kinda living here pretty much full time, so it's a bit different. That's a big it's a rule. Dumps for me. So we'll in Pamplona, Agus Vian Ross, I shea clog Frenona, the race at 6 o'clock in the afternoon. Normally these races jigging on the Ross and or in the Rossi shot, Tostin Sheed, Bades. Well, Igoni or Madsen, Agus jigging on Madsen downach. A Queen Sauce actually grows here in Saharn, Agus Grammage down Fanak than Shin, Iha, Saharn, Dolomatus, on Shin, Pomont Rash, or in downach, in that, you know, Jeffra of our own. Of a rash on so Seville or in Lund to be in a hurry to come back in here Monday or anything like that. So it was nicer in that way. Visha Bedrinis Jesha sa Shli Shin. So yeah, Bugly Nimnioch Irihan lay on Saharn, a bit anxious during the day on Monday, trying to drink 4 or 5 litres of water. Mar Visha Chod Cheshin, Visha Nor Hussy and Ross, Visha Gach Hamas Trucka. When the race started, it was 32 degrees Celsius. Agus Bedrin or Chreitnisha, Fe Hooked, Fe Shocked, Fos Visha Anate. Agus fi humid freshen, fi tash, so Mariala Shin just biogni na rishuk mar, you know, vi sagman gramen on and Ross a chreitneo agus sochma, and you know, when you'd be able to finish the race and do a half decent time, ag just kaituvek Cormacs to choked in. It's just taking all the Ross ag a neachlug or Madsen with a race at 9 in the morning, you know, I ran to ag a shocked, agus ni lein tamagad, honaveg smoin of fin Ross, you don't have any time to think about the race, so just chain to, tosnin to, creightin to, it's over before you know it, tash a great near riv. Sad, you know. Ach, vi nís má agam pon bheith smoine faoi agus lón a bheith agam agus lón ceart le, you know, hun a rís carbs a chuirteach anam agus mar sin agus lánisca hol, siesta, hógáil, rivan Ross agus mar sin so lá am a hun a bheith smoine fin Ross agus mar soldíh má bhín sibh ag éisteacht leis an bud grey like a minute, because you know, if you listen to the podcast often, mana will rodagan like os machor agam. If I don't have something in front of me, my mind works pretty fast, so it just starts becoming a bit anxious about different things. I rinse beginning in Nachlia, Nikodona, not bad, but just a bit anxious, beginning nach fwy ruddy diffrula. And things that may or may not happen. You know, ruddy, Bader got our low sheet, Bader like our low sheet. So, Achansin, Huimuds Goodzy on Príomh Carnoch, and lots of Hussy and Ross went to the main square at about 5:30, 6 o'clock, Clartherish Cuig, Shea Chlog, Grippy and Ross, Dacker, like, so Chreitni May, Agus Vishisho, who's on scale Instagram, so Bader go Wakashiv, Wakashiv, you might have seen it, she was on the leanúint online Instagram, on Saharn. Riname or one, shocked no made this trucka, Agus Quig a second. I have to check my chip time actually, Captain Vishit simple Shin. So, like the Mayfa Igralum, if you would have said to me before the race, Rivan Ross, Shin and Tom via the 137.50, Kins nach make my sauce, I definitely wouldn't have been happy with it. Mar Hamplan Shaw Seville, Nis Luhas of Lane here in Seville earlier on the year, Riname or one Fihini Nomad, an hour and 29. Akan Shaw, Seville, Tashimar and Ross is Corpami, Simple na Herpa. It's the flashless race, I believe, around Europe, and it's also on in January, so obviously great chance. It's only 16 degrees, you know, Harter Sheikh and Jag Nisro yeah, Akan so chance into con PB all looks course éasca really a town. Okay, Neil may grow go to éasca on lap marathon, you know, Nivin Sharif. It's never easy to do a half marathon. Ach, a gumproj lesson Ginelle, gumproj lesson Gyancha. Rinne mid arm the cake of Hilly. On made connection. Here come the excuses now. Let's get or fad. Rinne mid arm on made connection. how hillis is hús I Pamplona agus freisin níos mó ná aon rud an socht agus an tais freisin the heat and the humidity. Breaks the Gene here were green for their Hossimudge on Ross. It wasn't too sunny when we started the race, so had a bit of protection from that. But when it's cloudy in Spain, it becomes more humid. Now reach a scamlach spawn, Donny small chas, ig bunch slash. So fós vi should dach agus. Vintas and down there, mar mohium goal me kovakli. No, actually mohium goal me nisakli. I feel like I'm Fisher, not mar vi me. Arish Arash Imianer nor rinne on Ross a Seville on show Seville. So we make swing of hope by men on Tom Kena no few beds are in East Tapula. I was hug me for Jarek fake in term a little paste charge of his crayfish sagum the little paste charge I'd written out. I realized a few K in or about halfway through nil to in Hanisha like Iano Sanam Kena but to what his mulla. Agus sin Mariella in the knick. Agus in beds in your army Chovakli maybe I wasn't just fit, but I think I was because I was training more. Fi me tenu an maids céine trainal no beidir actually níos mó trainal. So pucní náisteach ó héh sinse a ceapam just Marialler in a knick Marial an górsa Marial an socht nádara go ra mé ceart 8 nóid no fiú ní nóid 8 nóid nach 8 nóid níos mulla no ní nóid go leis go actually níos mulla 9 minutes slower than I was back in January. So overall I was happy with how I trained. I was happy with how I ran the race. Training fell off in the last few weeks a bit. Níor make trainal an méid chéine sa cúpla sachtan stoch a riv an Ross mar just fi se rohia an seo. Vi make trainal ach just like gen 2k, 6k, 5k, 6k mads and seo riv and soaked before the heat would come in for the day here in Seville because most days down in Seville is 38, 39 degrees ucht game, no knee game is truck on show Seville. So yeah, based in your make train all I wasn't training enough like cúpla seachtanús ach through the streets overall kind of like cúpla míús vi sásta let mo chuid train all agus an maids train all me. So yeah, vi sásta agus tá mé tanúla níos mó Rossana níos mó Rossi in on Tarry to do more races after the summer by igoni tá 8k on show Seville ag Jeremy Bionfover at the end of September Hanshin tá on 10k in Athenry Malyahurí in Galway gon in Gaeilge lá Stifans rinne mé sin an oris tá mé géirí a rish im lín agus beidir amis fear a agus my record is stocha, my PB of Vula and Shins beat my kind of PB record that I did at that race last year. Agus beidir sin is the lap marathonella me beyond over me Europe over me the sound I heard there and I'm Shane around that time later on this year but she could just akanish on sour. It only Jerem goal me hun sussa hogal I was saying I'm gonna take a break agus there's Karen law Kuig law Nertha my herp is stocha ag mohope yugni's farm when my body is feeling a bit better. I'm like I'll just go for a run now but it was really good and really cool to get that picture with the Irish flag on a Vrodool stock. Very proud. Hold on. A picture shin a hogal and green graph shin a hogal lesh on rat Aaronach vishay who's Aaron Instagram tashay imiha nish mar vishay who's on shin mar scale agam was up there as a story but lesh rat Aaronach with the Irish flag agus in arts ariname on Erasmus Agsoch Dahri Mahale, a place that changed my life as is every place I've lived in Spain, Barcelona, Pamplona agus Seville. So vi sin an chul agus an chul hon filuer Pamplona hui mit amach ani sin ni ramen an fan tamach ro roada no ro yénach mar vi me kof tershak sin teresh on Ross 21 kilometers it ain't easy and is éasca gohoriha so chocht so je better lahar teresh sin and sin hui muds Owalia teresh kupla duck ava agin agus dawnach éné ag fill rash vi breakfast agin agus hiúmid simple Pamplona vi Pamplona annach iné madsen agus tronón it's dhaoine yesterday kind of Sunday morning Sunday afternoon is really busy nimme kinse kin fá an rud oriha shul no a proj do imocht shul tá in San Fermin and Bull Run the big festival and fail a war a vín achub an sin tá sin shul Kappa me gan seachtainna nó gan caiiciis ag only tús miúil bín sé siúil ag near sé siúil nis sé siúil go fóil it's not on for now so sa tauci by sé cínsa ag puinte aigen ach bhí sé go jazz agus fillerás Zaragoza in dhé le machara dúirt mé slán leis agus an sin for mé an train ó Zaragoza arás go Seville thart cur or clig nó cur or is fé nóméid hí de lé beag an bheog so bhí muil beag ar an tréin nach níor sé ro chunne agus ras go sa bhil agus honnig mé sin seán scéal déirnach an so don fudcaile an sactan seo mar dúirt mé an sactan ní féidir an cuimhnú actually an I gcónaí bí mé ag tafaidú an céad Dháileagan an fudcaile. I always record the first two versions of the podcast on Monday, so I can't remember what I've said in one, what I haven't said in the other, because I'm like déanú an dá cheann so an sactan seo back to back mar déirfa ach Hirinus tá méid lín imithe le cuaig nó sé lá anús agus bhí mé explain of má tá sé fós imithe ar an dánach nar hagam marrás bair me léach a chur ar an customer service ar an leanúint agus listen, tá mis sin a choní le ceir bliana go le an seo sa Spáin. I've been living here 4.5 years. Tá mé lán sást an Spáis a labhairt, tá mé lán chompradach ag labhairt a Spáis or cléig, gar cléig, trí or cléig an láir fad le duine éigen. Tá mé lán péród dhéanam sa Spáis, tá bíal na péród, can do whatever I need to do in Spanish. Tá mé lán hiiscint, bíal na kid fan géad, can na Spanish almost 100% once the accent isn't too crazy on the will on Collins on blastas docha. Rochasta ag labhairt le duine éigen ar chois lumsa speaking to someone my age who knows me fibre bit, no problem. Agus tá I gcónaí géirí in Spanish labhairt. I always like to speak Spanish, and if I've got an option between Spanish and English, I gcónaí labhairim a Spanish. Ach an tain rud, the only thing nach bhfuil me I géirí tainú sa Spanish, no trí bheán na Spanish through the medium of Spanish, sin customer service, no. Nís móna sin a bheith labhairt ar an phone le duine éigen nach bhfuil an agam orthú. So to be speaking on the phone with someone I don't know as Spanish. Níl sagam. Well, tá sagam cin fáil. Tá sin níos deacra, mar níl tú an a láva, no a veil, a male, go leisce le. You can't see their mouth or their hands. Tá sagam go cuma aisteach ar sin hon é sin a rád. It might sound a bit weird, but it's so much tougher. So much of, especially in a second language, Gorian or automatic labhairt are, tanga eile nach bhfuil agin mar ar géad cheanga. Tá sé deacra. Agus na rudaí ar siúil like daoine le na láva go hurrihan seo sa Spáin because they use their hands more when they're talking and the mouth and to see the words they're saying their mouth. Déanta sé sin é ó bhád níos éasca. Gan dabhas fiú tosam an tú ag éisteacht le seo ba sé or bheith sé ó bhád níos éasca ar éanos easier chun mé a hiiscint as Gaeilge mas rud é go méid sibh an na bhéal agus na láva eáil. I gcónaí tá sé. Ach freisin le, nuair tá tú ar gléach seans má nach bhfuil an ceangailt roá, sometimes the connection isn't good. Tá siad sin ag obair in ifig le lán daoine eile. They're working in an office with a lot of other people. Tá lán thurann sa chúlra, there's a lot of noise in the background. So mar eile sin tá sé bhád ní seachar agus freisin le rud éigen sa leis an Wi-Fi tá lán termí technicúla. There's a lot of technical terms. So when Shakespeare, oh no, caiim mé seo dhéanam work. My biggest fear in Spanish, in lawyer, like an rud is massa Spanish agus tá aglar an faoi. So in éidir makes me maybe they have English helpline. Agus I gcónaí le gach rud sa Spanish, I gcónaí tá mé like, no, don't speak to me in English, speak to me in Spanish. Bhád is fear tá mar sa Spáin, tá mé géirí, tá okay, ní Spáinich mé, I'm not a Spaniard, but you should be proud of your language. We should be doing everything in Spanish, even if sometimes your English might be better than my Spanish, basically. The chuid verla níos fear ná mo chuid Spáinische, ach tá mé géirí é dhéanamh Spáinis, agus fiabhas a chur ar mo chuid Spáinische freisin mar fós tá lán spás agam chun fiabhasú, we still have a lot of room to improve mátar le mo chuid Spáinische. But with this, I'm just like, no. So I was thinking, but maybe they have an English line. So I called them up last night, chur méid léchar who rare, agus bhí sang a deichlog ihe to dhaoine sa Spáin. Ní bhaid an lína seo ar oscailt, this line won't be open, but the first bit of it of press 1 for this, press 2 for this might be. Agus bhí sé agus an chéad rud dúirtid pulse aquí, pulse 1 para hablar en castellano, press 2 to hablar, to speak in English. It's like, yes, so sin, you'd me an chléach, kind of not rejection the call, but hung up the call, will say, and I was thinking, okay, perfect. Now I can call them again tomorrow when their line is actually open or thought on Lína Airoscults. Agus by me now to say, mBéarla. So rinne sin Madsen, agus 30 spades cúig nóméid on hold. Dúirt den éigelum, that the call went through. Agus dúirt sí, hola. Agus dúirt me hello. Agus dúirt sí, hola, aríis. Agus dúirt me, like, it's Spanish. Nach chun sé seo mar an lína an labhairt mBéarla. agus tar sí well má tá tú ag géirí béarla labhairt caiith mé cholaí all tar sí gachart sa Spanish agus rim like fine was Jewish in Spanish agus bhí sé ceart go leor bhí sé go homlan tá was completely fine ní rá aon aibanna ar churbe ach just orintanta leis an rud sa bíon tú ag chruthú rudí níos measa ar a cheann agus fós ní leinigilín deisithe ach she reported the incident agus nes tá sí an gléich a chur orm níos déine agus ní mé nervhí seach faoin gléich sin at all. I'm not nervous about getting that call. I'll be able to do no problem. Just do it once and then you feel better about it. Mo hinn tú níos fearr faoi agus níos muine níos tócha more confidence so by sé ceart go leor said Jar Jesus I was so nervous beforehand or worrying about it bugan ní imneoch faoi agus san sin sa Jar cos le buad na gachrad sa saoil sure bhí sé ceart go leor bhí sé céad fan géad tá. So yeah, sinné so fós caiith mé fannacht ach le cúna dé nar tá mé ag tafaidú an legan dátheanga chun am doing the bilingual or the BHFAD Níos Simplí version tomorrow. I'll have the internet back and I can use the library close to my house to do anything like uploading this to Spotify. I show úsládáil agus Spotify tá Thuaidh. I'm so lucky to live in this generation with the internet as much as I said last week, it can be negative as well. It's rodúilta gé orintanta freisin mar a dúirt mé an teachtain scatsa, but if you haven't listened to that podcast, go check it out, as well as the other 101. Maybe don't listen to the first 50. The first 50 episodes of Gaeilge Weekly aren't great. An chéad chuig episode to Gaeilge Weekly níl siad rá agus níl an audio rá ach tar éis cheart ar agran na chuige ironn siad níos fearr. So yeah, that's it. Thank you very much for listening, guys. Gur míle mag of as a bheith éisteacht lom an teachtain seo. Guys, the live Erenos on teachtain sa hug, and I'll speak to you guys again next week. If you're learning the language, but I'll take fólam na Gaeilge. Gaeilge Weekly is about 10% of what we do at learnirishonline. Tá sé artar defan géad to gachrad a dhéanamod ar learnirishonline. Tá méid rudí le fáil. I won't bore you with the details. Just go to learnirishonline.com. No, patreon.com/learnirishonline. Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, learnirishonline gach agus by sé bhín an feicáil cad atá le fáil agin and show what we have available here or there actually an sin. So, speak to you next week. Learn my live on teachtain seogan, slán agus bannacht. Goodbye and God bless.
What must have turned